time to talk Tiger football on the flagship station of the Fighting Tigers of LSU, Eagle 98.1, and worldwide on eagle981.com.
Fast and fearless, baby, here we go!
The Tiger Zone, powered by Low Bears Casino and Hotel Baton Rouge. Get your calls in now at 225-499-9898. The Tiger Zone starts now, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. Here's Charles Annegriff and Gordy Rush.
And a pleasant good evening and welcome into the Tiger Zone. Here on Eagle 98.1. LSU football against South Carolina this weekend. You know, I say that because you can't take anything for granted. Games get canceled, games get moved, things happen. It's 2020, so I just wanted to say that. LSU and South Carolina, 6 o'clock on Saturday night.
For now, it's Wednesday. It's COVID, baby.
It is. Things change from day to day. So it was a newsy day, if you will, for LSU, and not much of it. I mean, I could lie to you and tell you, oh, wow, it's all this good stuff. It's not much of it good. So let's start with the quarterbacks. And not that it's not good, but your starter's out, okay?
Right.
And so now they're going to have to deal with a freshman quarterback, probably two freshman quarterbacks. And you just, if you've been listening, you heard Ed talk about they're going to make a decision and probably tell the kids tomorrow or whatever, and then they'll go with it. But both guys are probably going to play. So you tell me in a week where you go through, and I think the coaches know. I think they've been known probably for some time, but they want to let it play out. How it is to prepare for a game when you don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be, and it's like Wednesday and stuff.
Look, I think they. Twice now, Max Johnson has warmed up at Vanderbilt, and I know that because I think I was the only person in LSU side of the field.
I got a picture of you with your back up against the fence, so I did see that.
Yeah, no, that was actually the opener.
Oh, I'm sorry,
that was
the wrong game.
That was me sitting by myself next to all the cutouts of the Vandy baseball team.
Ah, okay.
So I think they bring two different things to the table. I think it is going to be Max Johnson would be my guess. And I don't have any inside information because he's not only has he been up twice to warm up, he was the first guy to do that, but also he's more mobile. And I think the state of this running game, Charles, and that they've got to get something going. What he's able to bring is a true run threat, and he's comfortable in the RPO, more in the RPOs, and you've got to account for him, I guess, in the run game, and that's what he ran in high school. And I think that and the fact that, let's face it, your offensive line has had their struggles. And one of the reasons that you're without a quarterback is his lack of mobility. He's taking a bunch of shots. And so I think your chance of success, or at least looking at it on paper, probably is a little higher right now with bringing Johnson in based off the way you've performed after 3 games. That being said, I was really impressed with TJ Finley. He's got a lot of zip. I thought he was really decisive. We talked about that in the scrimmages. For a young kid, boom, boom, get rid of the football. He had some zip on it. He showed some touch at times, and I think he's made tremendous strides from coming to Ponchatoula. And I think it's very close. It's not a huge. I think both will play. I think the best fit right now for what LSU has had problem-wise is Max Johnson.
So you said a week ago that. And this was before the game. Well, it was right after the game got canceled, actually. Your biggest concern was their inability to run the football.
Right.
A mouthful because the defense has been pretty bad. So you try to improve the running game, and you potentially have three ways to improve it, right? Number one is you insert a running quarterback, and that would be Max Johnson. Number two, you bring your offensive line back intact for the first time, I think, in 2 weeks, with Ed Ingram back in the starting lineup and Dare Rosenthal actually 3 weeks.
That's correct, since the opener.
Since the opener. So two games, 3 weeks. So you bring your starting offensive line back. And then the third thing is you get John Emery involved. And Hester loves the broken tackle stat. It's an accurate stat. It gives you the opportunity, if your offensive line isn't blowing people 5 yards off the football, to maybe make something happen. He's got a little bit more shake than the other two guys. So you get any or all of those things implemented, and you hope that the first thing is the running game gets impacted.
No, I agree with all those points. And then, one of the things that jumped out at me after watching some football this past weekend, and I'm trying to remember, you look at some of the things Alabama did, Georgia did, South Carolina on film, and what Mike Bobo's trying to do is that you force the defense to have to defend the whole football field, not only lengthwise, but sideline to sideline. And I want you to think about it right now against LSU. It's most of the run game. They'll bump it outside, but really you don't see a whole lot of jets. You don't see them. You don't have to, in my opinion, defend the run sideline to sideline. It's more of a vertical game. And, my gut on Steve Ensminger on the last couple of weeks, he wants to be more balanced. If he thought he could run the football against Missouri, he would run the football against Missouri. I think they were struggling. People putting 7 and 8 in the box, and it forced them to be one-dimensional.
They also had real matchup advantages where Terrace Marshall and Eric Gilbert were concerned. I understood early on, when you're scoring points and you're moving the ball down the field and you end up scoring 41 points for the game, and it's not like in the opener where they got a pick six and all that. This is 41 offensive points. This is 430 yards through the air. This is a top 10 performance in LSU history through the air. And you say they don't have anybody that can cover Marshall or Gilbert. I can understand falling into the temptation of not being balanced.
And at LSU, and traditionally in the SEC, the yards and the points that you put up should be enough to win football games, right? You'd agree with that,
sure.
Right?
You're third in the SEC in scoring.
Right. And so now, and you've only seen one or two samples, and we Vanderbilt obviously was a good performance, and Vanderbilt's not a very good football team. In Mississippi State, we know now some of the circumstances that led them to play man-free, and that was more scheme, in my opinion, than anything else. And, of course, you were missing Derek Stingley. So now, how do you approach this thing going forward, right? And you're going to have more balance. You're going to have a little bit more time of possession. Otherwise, you've seen enough sample of your defense, and you're not LSU of 2019 or 18 or 17 or 16 right now. Statistically, you're Texas Tech. And so do you want to keep going that route and keep scoring quickly and getting into all that stuff when you're still trying to clean up on the defensive side? So I'm not saying that they have Texas Tech's talents or any of that. I don't go the quotes.
No, I know. I got the analogy.
The point of that is you got to have a little bit of balance and then hope. And I think with both simplifying things and they get better defensively and you get some people healthy, that they have a better football game against South Carolina.
Simplify, buzzword of the week or 2 weeks.
We're going to do a segment on. We're going to do a segment on Simplify.
Okay, well then I won't jump to it now.
Don't get into it now, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to talk about what is Barry Odom doing at Arkansas. So I had a chance to watch that game.
Something real good, because to me they're the surprise of the league so far.
No question, best coaching job.
Yeah, right? Sam Pittman is coach of the year through 4 games. Because they've won 2 games and should have won 3. I mean, the officials don't blow the call at Auburn. They're 3-1,
right?
And they haven't won 3 games in 3 years. In fact, they haven't won 1 game in 3 years. So
I mean,
for sure,
they're physical. They have an identity on offense, right? And they're doing what a lot of teams are not doing in this league. They're stopping the run. Now, granted, they haven't played. We're seeing now they played Ole Miss.
They played Georgia.
Yeah, they did play Georgia. They played Georgia early, played them well before they got settled at quarterback.
Change the quarterback at half.
I'm with you, but they played Ole Miss and they played Auburn, who we now, right, is kind of in the same scenario LSU is. I think looking at where they are. So I mean, still more ball to be played. The fact that they're playing with a purpose, they're playing physical, it's a different identity, and that's something you can hang your hat on.
There's ways that you can get in touch with us. You can call us at 499-9898. We are on YouTube in the 104.5 ESPN on page. And you can get us the Bayou Ford chat on the side there, so you can ask us questions there. I think you have Facebook
I'll
Live
handle Facebook
going up,
today.
and so you can ask us questions from that. Okay, so the second thing that we get to is at LSU. This is a report from Sports Illustrated from Pat Forty and Ross Dellinger that LSU is self-imposing penalties for rules violations, and the NCAA will be able to respond to this. So I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of this. It's 8 scholarships over 2 years. Sounds like a lot, and it's certainly something. But it is 8 scholarships off of the 85 limit and not off of the 25-person signing limit. Why is that significant? Because they were nowhere near 85 scholarship players when they got to campus. And I don't think that even with a full signing class, which we're expecting, that they were going to get to 85 by next August either. So that, while it's not nothing, most years you go in under the 85 by a couple. So maybe this is a couple more. And in this case, it's less because of the COVID year. So if that holds, that's not the end of the world. It is a reduction of recruiting visits, evaluations, and communications. The official visits are 12.5%. Most years they don't use all of their official visits. The official visits are the number of visits that you can pay for in full and bring kids to campus. There is a limit. You usually do not use them all. Unofficial visits, they're going to eliminate some of those as well, and that's a little bit tougher to quantify because there's so many of them, and a lot of them are last minute. It's like, hey, can we come to the game? Yeah, if you get yourself here, you can come to the game. So I don't even have a number on that. It's something. It's not nothing. They get a 21-day reduction of 168 days of allowable and off-campus contacts. Also a manageable number. It's about 3 a month over a 7-month period. Again, not nothing, but certainly manageable. Then there's a 6-week ban in communications with prospects. This is the one that concerns me the most because I want to know how it's going to be applied. You can't go 6 weeks without talking to kids that you're recruiting. They'll forget that LSU's in Baton Rouge. So if this is in increments of 1 week, half a week, 3 days, I don't know. That one is the one that probably concerns me the most out of any of those things. The other part of it is, will this be accepted by the NCAA? Now, for years, when you gave a self-imposed penalty to the NCAA, whatever it was you decided that you thought you should be punished for, they added something to it. Didn't matter how severe it was, they were going to add something to it. It hasn't been the case as much of late. In fact, you've seen schools basically say, hit me with your best shot. Because if you do what the NCAA wants, which is, hey, listen, agree with us, cooperate with us, and tell us what you think, and basically open up your books, and we'll go easy on you. And Missouri did just that 2 years ago, and the NCAA threw the book at them. I mean, just crushed them for one tutor that had, tutored, I think it was a couple dozen players. They hit them with postseason bans. I mean, they hit them with as hard as you could hit them. So basically after that, the schools were like, you know what, come get us. Tell me what you're going to tell me, because whatever I tell you is just going to be used against me. So prove what you can prove. And in the case of basketball, for some 12 to 15 schools, you got nothing. You've been blowing smoke for 3 years, and you got Oklahoma State on a 1-year ban. Good for you. Find out what you can find out, and come get me. Yeah. So what they come back with, I don't know. These are level 1 infractions. There's 3 degrees of level 1 infractions: aggravated, standard, and mitigated. I'm not going to go through all of those. Let's just say that right now they're the ones that don't involve the postseason ban. Okay. This is all going back to, there was a booster that gave some money to a player's father who didn't do the job, and that booster's in jail. I think we all know that story. The other part of it is Odell Beckham, who they have basically banned from campus for 2 years because he was off handing out $100 bills after the national championship game. Now, whereas in the case of the booster, I think the NCAA is going to ask LSU, what did you know and when did you know it? Did you arrange for this booster to give this guy this money, and when did you know about it? And most importantly, did you lie to us at any point in the investigation? Whereas the Odell thing, I think LSU's off pretty much scot-free. Yeah. Okay. They had no idea that they were going to win the game, first of all. Certainly nobody from LSU went to Odell and said, listen, if they win while everybody's watching, go out and hand out $100 bills. I think we can say with pretty big degree of confidence that Odell did this foolish thing on his own, and now he's got to pay the price. Listen, I got nothing against Odell, but he knew what he was doing was going to attract attention. He knew what he was doing was foolish, and he did it anyway. So, and
you've of course got him spanking the policeman's ass, and
also
then
not a good look.
You've got the cigars. And anyway, so yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that.
Okay, so I think the Odell thing got you go look at ESPN.com, and it's LSU under sanctions because Odell's saying. I mean, it's
what they're trying to get clicks.
Yeah, it's a sexy headline, but it's not really the story.
Right.
The real violation is the booster and the dad and the fake job. That's where LSU's complicity lies, if at all. And they are trying to basically head the NCAA off at the pass here and say, listen, this is what we did. This is what we think we should be penalized. What do you think? And most importantly, at the end, say, this is a football matter. This happened quite some time ago, the booster, not the Odell thing. And this has got nothing to do with basketball. And we'll see if the NCAA agrees with that, because if they can tie basketball to football, then the allegation, not the allegations, but the penalties just go up.
And so usually during the sales process, the first bid, Charlie, is not usually right the highest.
Yeah.
Right? You want to go in a little bit lower, and
Right.
NCAA is going to come back. And yeah, look, I think it's hard to examine the impact of all this. Sure, it hurts. I'm with you because of the times we're in right now, the status of the roster. When's the NCAA going to allow players to come back and do visits?
Yeah, off
When
the
are you
dead
going to,
period.
and all the above right
Sure.
now. I mean, I've just heard this extended dead period and what have you, and the fact it's still LSU, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think by and large, because of the times that we're in, it's better than normal. But yeah, I'm with you. Let's see what they come back with.
If it stays with what they're offering, I think it's a manageable deal. You won't go, oh my. If it had been 8 players in one signing class or 4 and 4, it would have been a lot worse.
Right.
So let's see what the NCAA comes back with. Did I cover everything?
Yeah, I think that was good.
All right, good.
Tomorrow's a new day. Sun comes up tomorrow.
Tomorrow is a
right?
new day.
Could have some new stuff.
We're brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at La Berge. On Monday nights, enjoy half-off margaritas, draft beer, and nachos. Thursday nights, buy 1 tower beer, get 1 tower beer half off. And if you are here in the month of October, you become a My Choice member. You will get your choice, a free slot play, a free bet, or food credit within the first 48 hours. And they have started taking reservations for Thanksgiving dinner to go. You can bring home a holiday feast from the Bon Ton Buffet. Feeds 8 for just $95. That goes all the way through the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. You get your choice between oven roasted turkey or mandarin orange glazed ham, dressing, 3 sides, rolls and cornbread, sauces and pie. You call 225-224-4143 to order. 499-9898 is the number to call, or you can chat with us on Facebook or YouTube. This is the Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy,
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
How he comes up with this stuff in his head and designs it is mind-boggling.
Debbie and Home Bank understand my business and understand that it's not normal. They've worked with me since the beginning to help my business grow.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1, brought to you by LeBear's Baton Rouge. We're at the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill every Monday night. It's half off margaritas, draft beer, and nachos. And Thursday nights, buy a tower of beer, get a tower of beer half off. 499-9898 is the number. We'll take your questions also on Facebook and on YouTube. Stefan is in Crowley. Stefan, welcome into the show.
Guys, great to be back. Starting to feel like we're kind of some stepchildren with all the whippings we're getting lately from 2020. So in that light, I'm going to do a poem called No Moss 2020, No Moss. More piled on 2020, I thought we could be friends, but you keep inflating our hopes only to let them fall again. We've had enough sorrow. We're tired of your games. You're treating us as fairly as those cursed hurricanes. Moss finally starts to shine, then you tear his belly apart. Here there are sanctions that the NCAA refuses to make a la carte. Give us some joy this Saturday. I think we've earned some rest. Light a fire in our Tigers and help them pass the test. My mom said never speak ill when referring to another man. But since we're playing a chicken, I think she'll understand. Our opponent is an angry chicken, but a Louisiana man knows what to do. The only place for any chicken is in a gumbo, fricassee, or stew. I hear their players wear a heat-active deodorant, but not to stifle their smell, you see, but rather because the only way they can hope to get a degree. When they eat their cereal, I'm told, it's always out of a box, because bowls are known to cause choking in these wayward gamecocks. You're changing your name to Possums is something that I've been told, because you've always played dead at home and often get killed on the road. I hear you had to cancel Christmas, not because of a virus again, but because in the town of Columbia, there was not one virgin or 3 truly wise men. There was an experiment to see what happens if you cross a gamecock and a pig, it's true, but the study had to be abruptly canceled because there's some things a pig just won't do. So despite all of the valleys and mountains we must climb, let's suit up, mighty Tigers, and give them hell one more time. Let's make some angry chickens write a sorrow-filled, soulful ballad before they float deliciously by amid smoked sausage and potato salad.
Thank you, Stephen. The part about the 2020, at the end of the year, they always do these stories, year in review.
It might be more than an hour
it's
show.
It's like a horror movie, right?
Right.
It's like the worst of the slasher flicks out of the 80s.
What do you think it's going to be like? We got Playboy Marty. He's probably going to be in Times Square. What do you think that's going to be like this year?
Oh, well, we got
First off, with the restrictions, how happy are people going to be to see this thing go?
Can we get a, I don't know, what just some kind of camera on him?
Marty, could we potentially do something with Mints? We'll simulcast it, right? You guys live in Times Square, and we'll get Mints on what's the hotel? I stayed at Renaissance, I think, is on the corner. There's just a room and up on the roof.
Yeah, we could try to do that. I mean, I've heard Times Square on New Year's Eve is completely miserable, which would kind of make for good comedy with Mints there.
No question.
So, yeah, I don't hate the idea.
We'll get a GoPro for Mints. Just let him talk to people. I'm so excited about Mints on a subway. I think that's going to be huge.
I can't wait to see this. This would be entertaining theater.
Questions? You got them? You want to go first?
No, you go ahead.
All right, Facebook. So Charlie Craig Schilling, who is a favorite among us,
Meme
wants to know
master. Yeah.
what will be the pass-run ratio this week with freshman quarterbacks, and will there be a desire to run the football more?
Okay, so yes, on the second part of it, the first part is harder to answer because I don't know what the score is going to be. And if LSU falls behind, then you're your hands sort of forced to throw the ball more. That's why, getting somewhat control of the pace of the game and running the football and keeping the defense off the field is paramount here. If the score ends up 45-41 again, I don't like LSU's chances.
I don't think it's a shootout this week.
Well, I don't either, but I don't know that for sure. But I think LSU's a lot more likely to win if they score 24 points than if they score 44 points.
Okay.
How's that? Because I don't think they can score 44 points. All right. I think an LSU – that came out wrong. Let me say it again.
Okay.
I think they're more likely to win and scoring 24 points than if they got to go out and score 44 points. I don't think they're going to get home. Okay. So it's about controlling the pace of the game, and it's about the run-pass ratio on neutral downs, on first down especially, where you're about probably a 6-4 ratio, 2-1,
right.
3-2 ratio run to pass, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you get behind, I'm with you, or even if you get ahead, get disproportionate. I don't think either really happens in this game, because I think South Carolina's have spread the run you. They're going to make you defend the whole football field. I think Hill's executing what they want to do, and they're in the plus side of things with the turnover ratio. I mean, they beat Auburn because of the takeaways. I don't think there was anything that they did glamorous in that football game, but they were consistent, and they were able to run the football when they needed to in the second half. I think they were able to rush for 6 or 7 yards per carry in the second half. That's huge against a team like Auburn. Now, Auburn asterisks because they have things going on, but it is Auburn. So, I mean, I think ideally you'd like to be probably 55-45, a little shade to the run, and that's a far, cry from what you were at Missouri.
You can't turn the ball over. You can't give them the cheap points, and that's my biggest concern with a young quarterback.
Right.
Is you're going to have a turnover, and if you do that and you find yourself behind, then it disrupts your run pass ratio. You can put it on paper. We can do this on Wednesday all the way up to game time. You find yourself down in a 10-0 hole, and everybody goes, well, hang on, and then you want to start to speed things up, and that's where you maybe get in trouble.
So, yeah, I'm with you, and I think they've got to be more balanced. Again, that's why I think it is Max Johnson, and you're probably a little less hesitant to blitz an RPO, where I've seen enough on Finley. Finley's a pocket passer.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a dual-threat guy per se. He can move around a little bit. He's not he's not Zach Benberger back in the target in the pocket. But that was the problem they had with Miles Brennan in Missouri. Just 7-8 in the box. We'll come to get you. We'll play zero. I don't care if you're beating us. It's we're gonna eventually, the percentages are gonna go our way. We're gonna get you behind the chains. You're gonna go 0 for 10 right on third down. You're gonna have a low percentage on third down, and hopefully we're gonna get a chance to win that football game. I think that's what Will does, and I think it slows it down a little bit with what's going on. If he sees some RPOs, and he scouted Max Johnson well. He was a state over. I watched his press conference last night, the replay of it. They're well aware of what Max Johnson does, and there's enough intel. They've got to figure out what they're going to do. If we're sitting here telling this on a Wednesday night on the radio, they've got to feel what's going on.
I want to ask this question, and I don't mean it ugly or snarky or whatever like that, but why are you recruiting two quarterbacks that are so drastically different? I asked this question 10 years ago. You would think that you fit into what it is you want to do offensively, and then you go find the guys that can do it, and you don't have two quarterbacks that are drastically different. And I know O has talked about their similarities all week, but I hear more about their differences than I do about their similarities. One can run and one can't. One's taller than the other one. One's right-handed and one's left-handed. And I'm trying to figure out, in a week where you're trying to prepare both of those, what offensive schematics work the best, where you got to try to, serve both quarterbacks here.
So, and again, Muschamp commented on that a little bit. Hey, what did they do differently? And this is while he was being still coy about Brennan. This was going back a day. And there are some tweaks, right? And that they've done. Obviously, it's more of a vertical passing game. You don't have to account for him in the run game. And so there are a couple things that are different. I mean, there's a handful, I'd say 20% of the playbook that just goes out the window with Finley. That you can run it, but the problem is that he's in the game. Then I can get more aggressive, and I don't have to worry about perhaps the backside end sitting there playing contain. I mean, I can coach that up going into it, and that's what that becomes a Missouri problem again. And if my gut, if you play Finley, I think he does play. That's what he's going to face.
If you have two quarterbacks that are different and one is the starter and one is the backup and the backup only plays in mop-up time, then that's fine. Where it becomes problematic is when both of them have to play. And this is what happened when Jordan Jefferson and Jarrett Lee were on the same team and they didn't do anything alike.
I'm with you. These two are closer.
Okay.
These two are closer.
I want to say this before I see him play.
So Johnson can throw the football. He's got a lot of zip. And so where Jefferson had his struggles in the pass game, right?
Yeah.
And so I think he's closer throwing wise. So it just becomes the run elements that you're limited with some of your run elements with Finley as opposed to Johnson, in my opinion.
Not to be argumentative, Gordy, but that's the whole difference between quarterbacks, those that can run and those that can't, because they're all supposed to be able to throw.
You know, I haven't seen all the film on Nussmeier, but we saw Walker Howard, who was fabulous.
Yeah.
Right? Fabulous the other night against Catholic. St. Thomas More beat Catholic. I don't know if you got that memo.
They
won.
It
really doesn't.
Yeah, no,
I
heard it was a great game.
They beat Catholic.
I heard it was a great game.
You don't hear that on the afternoon show.
No, probably not. And it doesn't matter to me what style of quarterback you want. You can win with either. But when you have to bounce back and forth, this is where sometimes problems can arise. I'm just telling you what I've seen in the past.
It's a tweak to it. I think the bigger question, and I'm with you, is the vision of what you're trying to do offensively.
Yeah.
And so I think what Burrow did so well, besides obviously scrambling and the things that he did, his ability to move within the pocket. And ultimately that becomes a question for Finley. I think when he gets the opportunity to play, is he what Miles was not able to do in the Mississippi State game, which he did a better job against Vanderbilt and against Missouri. And it's a question with Finley. You got to move the spot in this day and age, or you're going to get 7 or 8, and then you lose the ability. I go back without. I think you have what we're seeing in pro football, and now what we're seeing, we've seen for years in college, and what we're seeing now in pro football is you put the dual threat quarterback and some RPOs in. It makes it really, really difficult to defend the width of the football field, the whole football field. And that's what Carolina, when I looked at them and cut up the films for CST, much better job of that. They really didn't do that in the past.
We're brought to you by LeBear's Casino and Hotel here in Baton Rouge. This is the Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us. and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1, presented by LaBerge Casino and Hotel here in Baton Rouge. Again, Thanksgiving dinner to go from the Bon Temps Buffet. They are taking pre-orders now all the way through the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. It's a great deal. It feeds 8 for just $95, including turkey or ham, dressing, sides, bread, sauces, and pie. You call 225-224-4143, 225-224-4143. Thanksgiving dinner to go from the Bon Temps Buffet. So this question from our Bayou Ford chat sort of leads into what we were going to talk about anyway, and it was will Bo Pelini let the players just play defense, because right now there's no energy on defense because they are so confused. That's paraphrasing. That's a common question that's been asked over the last week and a half.
And I've heard some of the player comments and what have you, but I would argue this. What I've seen on film is not horrifically complicated, right? I mean, in fact, I would tell you, in trying to guesstimate, I think that even pre-snap, there's not a whole lot of adjustments, stemming, disguising, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. Where I do see, I think, some of the complications may be, one, in checking or motion or having to adapt to somebody that shifts the formation. For example, the touchdown pass against Missouri, when the slot ran right by Ricks and Harris, and nobody got him. Okay, so that was motion. Harris came over. Harris and Ricks weren't on the same page. Don't know who didn't get the call, and right through the middle of the football field. Okay, that could be something that's complicated. The second thing, which in a 4-3, which is a lot of gap, and it's you're shooting your gap, you go here, you go there, is knowing what you're doing on the play. Because when you look at it on film, this isn't Buddy Ryan's 46 defense, right? And it's not. From that, it's not. So I'm wondering what they simplified, right? And that's I lend myself to whatever your responsibility is on the play and executing that. It just doesn't look that complicated. Now I'm going to pivot here, okay? And I'm going to go back.
Can I tell you how much what you're saying right now alarms me? But go ahead.
Okay. And so, We'll come back to LSU. When I look at Arkansas and Barry Odom, I think he does a masterful job of giving you the same look, and he runs 3 or 4 different things out of it. And we know he's not doing it with a wealth of talent. In fact, the kid that had 3 interceptions was a walk-on.
Okay.
Cornerback. Okay. Had 3 interceptions against Ole Miss, who just lit up Alabama for 2 weeks ago. But I think it's simple, and that's the beautiful thing about it. In this day and age, when so many people are checking at the line of scrimmage, they're getting to the line, including LSU. I'm going to show you A, and I can do B, C, or D. And hopefully you're going to guess wrong, and you're going to throw a hitch, and my cornerback's going to be rolling up, and he's going to intercept the ball. And that's what happened, for instance, for that. And I'm not, I can't go in there and doing the sideline stuff and get that inside and come back here and talk about it. So I'm just guessing from the outside that I think that's what he's got to be simplified. You can simplify the checks, or you can simplify what they're doing on the play. The second thing I'll tell you about, you can go and talk about simplifying, and coach is going to take responsibility and what have you, but the big guy in the sky doesn't lie. And loafs are loafs. I don't care how complicated it is. Effort is effort. Okay? And so that is as much, whatever's going on with that, to me, is as much going on schematically. Mississippi State, I thought there was great effort, right? And I thought it was schematically. Missouri, there are a lot of plays that look on film, you're just head scratching like, wow, there's some people look like they're sleepwalking out there. And that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay. I didn't like anything you said at all.
Good.
Okay.
Can I go home?
No. Not that I didn't, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I understand.
The first part of it, the schematics where you say this is not terribly difficult. I would have rathered you said that this was a return to the old days where Saban had, a blitz for every state plus all the American territories, and they didn't understand New Hampshire and Vermont. Okay. I
remember those days.
Okay, then take the blitz package out from 50 states to 46, and maybe we'll go from there. So the fact that you're telling me it's already pretty basic and they're still not getting it is alarming. To me.
I know it's a change. I'm sure it's a change. Now, has it been a change in terminology from what was there with Aranda? Yeah, but some of your primary people, including one of your linebacker, your defensive end, and what have you, it's on them, right? I mean, excuse me, it's new to them, so that doesn't come into play in that. I just don't, that's just my 2 cents. I don't, when you, for instance, when they get into their third down sub packages, you're going to go with a fast 4 up there, the same group that you have. They kick Anthony down, and you get, you get Ojulari on one side, you get Gay on the other side, and a defensive tackle or whatever they choose. They go with a fast package. 1 or 2 things happen, and either you're going to rush your gap or you're going to run a twist, okay? And then underneath, corners got 1, safeties have 2, and linebackers have 3. And if you motion, you got to be able to communicate. But they've played so much man-free, and they've played a little bit of zone, right? And so I don't to me, the schemes aren't overly complicated. Now, the zones, when they drop back in the zones and the head's not on a swivel and they look lost playing zone, now that's on the technique, right? And maybe because they're not clear doing it. I just don't, again, it's not Buddy Ryan's 46 defense.
The second thing is probably way more disturbing, which is you're still talking about loafing and we're a month into the season now, okay? As long as I've been at this, I can only remember a few specific times where it looked like effort was a real problem, or and most of the time that was coming to camp in shape. I remember that DiNardo one year said if they don't show up in shape, we'll use camp to get them in shape, and we'll just be behind in football. And they showed up in great shape that particular year, but then when things went south in the '99 season, they kind of quit a little bit.
Right.
I remember the year after 2003's national championship that Saban thought they came back in lousy shape, and that was the famous stick it in your depth chart press conference because he thought that they had basically dogged it through the offseason and kind of rode the championship victory lap. And here and there through Miles's tenure, you would see a half or even a game where they weren't they weren't into it. They come out flat.
Let me give you. How about Arkansas, the game that they had 96 yards of total offense up there with Anthony Jennings.
Right, okay.
Right, and it was cold.
Yeah.
And everybody was sitting by the heater, and nobody wanted to play, and you just didn't see great effort.
But those are few and far between.
Right.
Really. I don't remember it going on for a series of games. A game here, a game there. It was cold. We fell behind. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. We took the opponent too lightly, etc. But I don't remember a coach saying through 4 weeks of the season, man, I'm worried about effort. Usually that's the kind of thing a coach gets fixed. Or you're going to get in shape and you're going to hustle, or you're going to run until you can't run anymore, usually.
And look, only they know what's going on inside there.
Yeah.
But to me, on the film, it looks like a combination of both. I told you, talked to an opposing SEC coach. They said this defense looks lost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I agree with some of that. All right. And at this level, 3 games in, go back to the Missouri play, the touchdown I keep going back to. Motion comes across the field. We should have put this up here and we kind of did a segment on it. Motion comes across the field. Todd Harris comes down, checks, and what appears to got to be man, the way that it's set up for a safety to come off of his spot and get 7 yards. Inside technique, everything screams man. Yet Ricks plays zone, Harris plays man, in the middle of the football field, which is sacred. You don't, you just it's wide open back there, and the guy runs 20 yards on touch for a touchdown in an SEC football game. That doesn't happen. That's something maybe in week 1, a scrimmage, or not even a scrimmage, but early sets of camp where you have a bust of that magnitude.
If they don't look like they're into it on Saturday, I'm really going to have to question where your head's at, and I'm going to have to question where the program's at that point, because you've had a month to get it fixed. If after 2 weeks of being told you're the worst defense since God handed out leather helmets and you don't react to it, look, if you're out of position, okay, fine. If you make a mistake at full speed, that's fine. And if you do all of those things and the freshman quarterback, whichever one it is, ends up turning the ball over 3 times and you lose, so be it. But if you go out there and you just dog it on Saturday after 2 weeks worth of what the hell's the matter with you guys, and I'm gonna have to really question where your head's at.
And so there's so there's a disconnect of some way. And again, we'll go based off the face. I mean, what the film looks like. But I'm with you. I mean, if that happens this week against South Carolina, which you're going to see a lot of motion, a lot of movement. That's the way I'm going to scheme them.
Sure.
A whole lot of movement, and a whole lot of play action, and then a whole lot of cutback misdirection, because LSU's so fast to flow. Ball goes left, whoosh, everybody goes left.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you see? Everybody go back right. Play action, this, that. I mean, Mississippi State did that to death on them. And so that what's coming at you, right? It's not like they're going to come up with too many wrinkles.
Mississippi State hasn't done that to anybody since then, which that in my head is one of the things that really concerns me about this team, which is that Mississippi State look when we came in here to do post game after that game, it's like, man, that was ugly. It has gotten nothing but uglier week by week as you watch them play some more.
So the finish the segment and your complication, what have you, and maybe it lends to what the players are saying, right? And again, the film shows against Missouri some loafs and some effort questions, but I understand that you were playing a kid that Evans that hadn't played in 11 months and had been with you for 2 weeks. He didn't even make the flip chart. Okay.
Right.
Charles, I can line up and get a middle school team to play cover 2 shell. It's on YouTube. The University of Washington shows the play a cover 2 shell and just come up and thump the living you-know-what. And now we've seen everybody essentially do that. And Costello, who was loose with the football on his against us.
And has been looser since.
And continues to be loose, is just error-prone. And that's, you make them be consistent and execute. And if they get all the way down to the red zone, the field gets tighter. You can't throw all those underneath routes, and they have to kick field goals. And so maybe the installation was too complicated, that they felt they had to do that much man-free, and that they couldn't play cover 2. That's surprising to me. That's just my 2 cents.
We're brought to you by LeBear's Baton Rouge. Become a new My Choice member here in the month of October and win your choice of free slot play, a free bet, or free food credits in the first 48 hours. This is the Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone, presented by LeBear's Baton Rouge, where every Monday night it's half off margaritas, draft beer, and nachos at the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. Thursday nights, buy one tower beer, get a tower beer half off the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, right inside the front door at LeBear's Baton Rouge. South Carolina comes in this weekend. Gordy, they're 2-2. First of all, they're coming off a win against Auburn. They're what I call an honest team. Okay, there's nothing terribly flashy. There's no undeniable superstars. Coach has been there a while, so they're not implementing anything that's drastically new. is a transfer quarterback that's come in and done a nice job. He hasn't, they're not going to put him on any, midseason All-American teams, but he's done a nice job. They play hard. They play physical. There's nothing, I hesitate to use the word sexy, but there's nothing sexy about them, but they're going to give you an honest day's work. And if you don't show up and take care of your business, they're going to beat you.
I'm with you. And this year, where in the SEC, where you throw everything out the window minus, Alabama and Georgia, maybe, right? I mean, that's a certainty. Florida.
And really
right?
Alabama.
Right, Alabama, yeah. I think everything else because of what's happened here at LSU, I think is a great example. I mean, Auburn's going through the same problems. They lost a ton of players. Their best player is injured. They get 2 or 3 opt-outs. Obviously they're not engaged. When have you seen a Kevin Steele defense just get slashed?
Auburn and LSU have a lot of
similarity
because Auburn should have one more loss than they do.
You got new offensive coordinator and Chad Morris that's come in. He lost the whole offensive. I mean, we go on. And there are a lot of stories like this. I mean, South Carolina, I think it's a 5-5 football team. Muschamp sticks around for another year, and he's recruited well. I like the Bobo hire. He's usually been solid on defense. The question becomes, can he beat Kentucky and find his way in the top 4 or 3 in the SEC East instead of the 5, 6, or 7 column, right? In my opinion,
there's one guy that I would call our best offensive player that kind of scares you a little bit, and that's Shi Smith,
right?
Number 13. So he's an issue because he catches everything, and they target him way more than anybody else on the offense. So if you were they've got a nice combo at tailback, but it's nothing over the moon. Smith is the guy. If you're sitting there, okay, who jumped off the film? It would be 13.
Yeah, and they use him in a lot of different ways. There was a big play against Vanderbilt in which they ran a shuttle pass. I personally, if I'm going to go at LSU, if I want to, I'll take my shots with Ricks, or I'm going to primarily put him in the slot. That's where a lot of the confusion truly has happened, right in the middle of the football field. If I can find spots for him, if the linebackers are going to play zone, give me a lot of movement and get me on a safety. Can you get me on Stevens in coverage, right? Who's more of a run support type guy? Who's a nickelback? Those are the questions. Those are the matchups I'd look at. I'm with you. I think that he's their best offensive player. Perkins, I believe, the running back, if I'm not mistaken.
Fenwick.
What's that? Fenwick and the other one, Harris, excuse me, Harris. Both of them were playing. They had a blue chip redshirt freshman that blew out his knee. So they're serviceable. They're nothing special. They're going to get north and south. Remind me a little bit of not knocking good college backs, but like Brissett, right? I mean, I thought Brissett was a very good college back here, right? But nothing that's speed-wise, gear-wise, it's going to scare you. And they do a good job with the RPOs, the zone. It's a smart offense. They move pieces, and I think Hill doesn't get you beat.
Let me just put it as obvious as I can. They're playing better than LSU right now. They're a better football team through 4 games than LSU is through 3.
Yeah, I would agree with that because they might not be as explosive on offense, but they're more balanced. And here's the thing: they complement the other side of the football. I mean, they're in terms of yardage. And granted, you had the 41-7 game against Vandy, just as LSU did, but their defense hasn't given up anything just ridiculous.
Yeah, they lose the Tennessee game on a pick six.
Right,
basically,
that's right.
That's a 50-50 game, and then they come back and they play Florida. What was a very competitive game for a 14-point loss, they had, depending on who graded the film, 6 to 8 drops. And some of them, including one near the end, or what was their last offensive play, a ball in the end zone, very, very significant.
And never found an answer for 84, the big tight end for Florida.
Right, for Pitts.
Right.
I don't think they would have beaten Florida even if they catch 5 of the 8 that they dropped. But the point was they were kind of right there.
Yep.
They didn't get embarrassed by Florida. Florida didn't blow the doors off of them. And then they beat Vanderbilt by the same score LSU did. And then last week they take advantage of Bo Nix. Well, if you take it – last week, Auburn and Tennessee, very similar in that if you take the run game away, and Auburn's running the ball better now than they were at the beginning of the season, but they're still not Auburn. So you put the game on the quarterback and wait for him to make a mistake. That's what they did with Giartano. Didn't work for them, did work for Kentucky. You take the ball out of the running game for Auburn. You put the game on Bo Nix and see if he can beat you. And, well, he didn't, okay? So why would their game plan be any different than take the ball out of the running back's hands, whichever one it is, and put it on the freshman quarterback and make him beat you?
No question. There's no question. Again, I'm going to be conscious of the fact that he can pull it down and run. So they're gonna work all the RPO responsibilities that you got to do with Nix. Nix is capable of doing some of that stuff, and they saw it with Trask, and so this is nothing new to what they're doing. So it's not as if they've got to change the game plan. I got to be cognizant that he can do that, but there's no question I'm bringing people up, right? I'm bringing people up. I want to see the young guy, if I do that, and they check to some sort of max protect, I want to see him stand tall in the pocket, deliver the football, and beat me in man coverage.
Here's the chess match. Against Mississippi State, Miles Brennan making his first start. We spent most of the week saying get him comfortable, give him some things he can complete, get into the flow of the game, get himself comfortable. That didn't happen because, by his own admission after the game, said they took away a lot of that stuff. They took away the easy stuff. He didn't play badly, but he never really got comfortable either. And I got to think that the same thing will be here. South Carolina knows. Muschamp's coached defense forever. He knows that they're going to want to get these quarterbacks settled in. So what's he going to do to say, hey, the last thing I want your quarterback to feel is comfortable?
Yeah, so I think pinch the middle. I think push and what have you, and take away the high percentage passes when they're not coming after him a little bit. I think you're going to see a bunch of RPOs. He ran that. I think he ran that in high school. I'm going to give him high percentage stuff. Things that he's seen before. RPO, we're gonna run zone read. I'm gonna look at the linebacker. Linebacker comes up, I'm gonna throw whatever the route is right behind him. If he stays back, I'm gonna give him the ball. He's seen that. That's stuff that he can digest. He can run, and it's tough it's tough to defend. Whereas Brennan, what you saw, the RPO was not in play. It was more of the pistol. It was the five wides. It was all the intermediate, the Saints stuff that without the RPO, the things that you saw, and they just did a great job of Mississippi State, again, going back to what Arkansas did. They lined up the same way and did 3 or 4 different things out of it. So ultimately, Ensminger's guessing, hey, we're going to run the slant, thinking he's going to get this coverage, he gets something else. So, I'm with you, and that's going to be the challenge that, Steve and Linehan have this week is getting a package that Johnson's going to be comfortable with, and okay, how can we dress some of this stuff up that we just don't play our hand?
And how do you play 2 quarterbacks? We'll talk about that when we get back. We are brought to you by LaBerge Baton Rouge. New My Choice members at LaBerge will win their choice of free slot play, a free bet, or free food credit in the first 48 hours of joining. This is the Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
This is it, what smart customers wait for all year. The Richards Honda Trade-In, Trade-Up event. Right now, get more money for your trade and a great price on something new. That's a win-win. Only at richardshonda.com. The smart choice.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening. with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Upgrading your ride is as easy as richardshonda.com during the Trade-In, Trade-Up event. It's a once-a-year event with great prices on every vehicle in stock. So trade up today. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1, presented by LaBerge Baton Rouge. Bring home the holidays this season with a Thanksgiving feast from the Bon Ton Buffet. Their dinner to go feeds 8 for just $95, and their pre-orders start now through November the 24th, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Choose between oven roasted turkey and mandarin orange glazed ham, one of their dressings, 3 of the sides, 2 of their breads, 2 of their sauces, and 1 order of pie. 225-224-4143. Thanksgiving dinner to go from the Bon Ton Buffet at LaBerge. When you play 2 quarterbacks and he's more or less committed himself to playing 2 quarterbacks, always wonder how that works, because there's good and bad that can come out of that. So let's say you go in and you say, we're going to do it by script. And Max Johnson's going to start, and TJ Finley's going to come in 3rd series or 1st series of the 2nd quarter, however you want to script it.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnson goes out there and leads 2 touchdown drives. So then you're faced with either disappointing the kid that you told was going to go in a certain time and now you don't, or taking the kid out that's led to touchdown drives. On the other hand, if you say I'm going to do it by feel,
right,
then the kid that goes out there to start, if it's Johnson, he's just waiting. It's well, hey, TJ's coming in at some point. My first incompletion, my second incompletion, is it my third incompletion? They haven't told me, but I'm going to leave the game at some point. And then am I going to come back in? Because what if I go out there and go 1 for my first 6, and then he comes in and he goes 4 for his next 4? Am I ever going back in the game? I don't know that there's a good way to do it. I mean, both of them have upside and downside. You were on a team that had Tom Hodson and Mickey Guidry.
Right.
Okay. And it worked because, and they scripted it, and it worked because everybody knew that if Hodson led 2 touchdown drives, that Guidry was coming in on the 3rd drive anyway. And everybody knew that if Guidry threw an 80-yard touchdown pass to Sammy Martin, that Hodson was going back in the game, because both of those scenarios happened a couple of times. So, but these are 2 fresh. Hodson was an all-conference player 4 years in a row, and Guidry was very comfortable in his role. These are 2 fresh and had played a year before Hodson got here. This is 2 freshmen that haven't played at all. I think it's trickier.
There's no question. I think the difference is that, you felt comfortable with Guidry and it didn't matter. You can't possibly, I don't think you can possibly have the 3rd series earmarked for the other quarterback. Okay. I think you do, however, script, right? You're going to script so many plays. You're going to go into the game. Let's presume that Johnson's a starter. Okay. I'm going to script this regular, right? I got package. I got to plays and this and that, right, that I'm going to do. And then I'm going to have a script ready for for Finley, right? For TJ Finley, the things that he do well. And so an earmark and probably some notation color, however they do that, on the going forward, hey, these are the hot things, these are the specialty things for it. I think you just got to pick your spot to insert Finley, if that's the case. If it is indeed Johnson, I'm going to pick my spot to put Finley. Going back to, was it Curly Hallman that put Melvin? He put Melvin Hill like on this 3-yard line coming out, or he put in a true freshman quarterback against Florida in Gainesville. Just that was
a bad day.
Bad day. Bad substitution. So yes, in scripting the play, but I think the situation, if you play him, when you play him, is affected by a lot of things, and also the scoreboard, right? I mean, if you're up and you're rolling with Johnson, you don't necessarily have to play him.
Except he said that he.
Well, that's the thing about Ed. I mean, Coach O's going what he says. So maybe they do play him. We'll see what it looks like.
He has handled the two quarterbacks, I think, as well as you can. He's been as diplomatic. He's coaching in the modern day where it comes to backup quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even with Burrow and Brennan. I mean, I don't know if you were at that press conference where we're meeting after practice, and he comes up and he's got his notes and he says, we've been at this for 3 weeks, and Burrow has had 348 snaps and Brennan has had 347 snaps, and he's made this many yards, 0.4, this many yards, 0.38, and it's very, very close. And every time they've asked him in the preseason, and this wasn't a normal preseason, but it was always, hey, they're equal, they're splitting reps. I got this depth chart right here, and it says TJ Finley or Max Johnson. I'm assuming that's alphabetically that they put them on the depth chart, or maybe it's by number because Finley's 11 and Johnson's 14. But at some point you have to divide them. Okay, at some point one guy's got to go out there for the first snap and one guy doesn't. And I know why you want to be a little bit vague about that, because the position is transfer happy. And you'd rather kids stick around.
Right. I mean, go back to
that's not even just here. That's everywhere.
The Joe Burrow, first year he was here. I mean, everybody, there's no surprise that Burrow was going to be the starter, but you were trying to hold on to McMillan and Narcisse.
And it didn't work.
Right. Well, it didn't work.
You held on to Brennan, though.
And so some of me, when, I think also, Coach O's after a national championship, and he's been through all the charades that he's just to the point of, I'll call it like it is. This is who I am. This is what we're going to do. We're going to be transparent, and I'm
going to give both kids a shot too. I got no problem with that.
I think at this, and I'm here to tell you, it's not coaches speak. They both can play.
Yeah.
I mean, Finley can throw the football.
Everybody asks me,
who do you really impressive?
Who do you think's better? Who do you prefer? I'm like, how would I know? We haven't seen him play.
Based off what I saw in scrimmages, both of them are very similar. I mean, they're solid, and I don't think I have a problem. In a normal year, you'd hope that you didn't want to put a true freshman in this circumstance. I don't think you have a problem doing with that. I think Johnson gets, because again, Johnson plays, or starts at least, because of what he brings to the table, his ability to run, and the stuff that you've been struggling in the run game. And I think it's probably a better strategy to go against South Carolina than having Finley, who's similar to Brennan, that's more of a pocket passer, and they're going to tee off on him.
And not for nothing, but even if you go to practice every day, sometimes you still don't know. And I'll tell you a story. Back when DiNardo was here, I covered every practice, went to every practice pretty much from start to finish, and you had access to everything. This is going on 20-some-odd years ago. And this was the year of the Nall, Booty, Davy quarterback battle. And I still remember the local television stations breaking in when DiNardo said it, okay? It was like Young and the Restless at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it came scrolling across the screen. Craig Nall's been named the star. Everybody says, well, what do you see when you go out there? I said, you want to know what I think? I think Craig Nall's looked the best in practice. And he did. And then the game started, and he didn't. And Rohan was better. And then Booty came in, and we know what happened after that. The point was that during practice, Nall looked better. But when you put the lights on, Rohan looked better.
Yep.
Okay? So even if you think you know, sometimes you don't always know based on just practice. They got to go out there, and maybe they'll be comforted by the fact that there's not 100,000 people in that stadium on Saturday. Maybe it'll calm their nerves a little bit. Maybe it'll make them more nervous. I got no idea.
Okay.
I'm watching along with everybody else.
I'm with you.
I'm very interested.
Right. I'm with you. A couple questions here that we got on our Facebook app. You can 1045 ESPN Facebook, also on the 1045 ESPN YouTube. I don't. Parag writes in and wants to know: are you surprised that the LSU's at a 5.5 point favorite? They were open at 6.
So here's what I got on that: is that the open at 6 or 6.5 had the Brennan injury built into it. That if Brennan would have come out of the other game completely, the rumors were going around. Okay, Vegas knows that this would have opened at 8 or maybe 8.5. Had Brennan been available for the game. Now, you can agree with that or disagree with that, but that's what I was told, is that Brennan's injury was factored into the 6.5 point open, and after that, it's just money is driving it. Do I expect that it will go down? Yes, I've seen some 4.5s today, and that's probably where it may kick, 4.5 to 5.
So watching film, let's say Brennan was healthy.
Yeah.
6.5 is a little surprising.
Would have been 8. Would have been 8. Would have been more.
Would have had LSU 4, 3. It's just my opinion. I mean, I've been more impressed maybe than South Carolina and what they do. They don't beat themselves in this day and age when nobody's tackling that well. Defenses have been really loose. I like what they're doing offensively. It's not anything that's going to lead the league in offense, but it's not the old South Carolina either.
Well, let me ask you this way: who did you think was better before the game? And I'll trust you for an honest answer here: Auburn or South Carolina?
Well, we talked about this, and I thought it was a push, but we talked about this last week. I thought South Carolina could win the football game.
And Auburn was a 3-point favorite on the road.
Right.
Okay. The other thing I think a little bit, not every instance, is that I think that Vegas is still giving not 100% full credit, but pretty close to credit for home field. And I think anybody will tell you that Tiger Stadium is not worth the 4 to 5 points that it usually is. But Vegas is still giving credit for it at this point, or at least a lot of it. So I think that's the other thing.
Yeah. I look, and Marty, those guys that do the odds and what have you. I mean, me personally, I'm sure it's just it's got to be a crazy year for Vegas. Marty, you can put up, and I personally wouldn't bet, and I'm not a gambler because there's so many unknowns, right? But I'm sure that if you do enough research, you follow some of this stuff, there's some trends like what Ole Miss is doing, and some of those things, there's probably some opportunities out there.
Yeah, certainly. Especially in the NBA bubble, there was a lot there because people weren't accounting for like travel times and the away teams, or the teams on back-to-back on the second end of a back-to-back.
Right.
They were covering way more often than they do normally. So that's just one that
I'm sure. It's just an abnormal thing for Vegas. My whole thing, and I get friends that text me, and I know these guys, everybody puts out, the lock of the week, Odd and Ben and all those people. Yeah. It's just, how do you, how do you predict? How do you know who's playing? I mean, this isn't, obviously we know at LSU, this is not Auburn. And this is a depleted Auburn that's minus 10 or 12 people. They've got issues that are going on over there that aren't happening in a normal year with Kevin Steele as DC.
Something else to think about, what they'll tell you about is sharp bettors. The sharps will try to get on lines early before they adjust.
Right.
That there has been a reluctance by the sharps to bet on college football on a Sunday or a Monday when the lines come out, because they don't know if they're going to get hit with a half a dozen guys out for COVID on Thursday after that test. So the lines maybe haven't moved as much earlier in the week as the sharps would normally move the money.
I'm with you.
A little bit of that.
And
okay?
so, I mean, that's the person who writes in. Sutherland wants to know real quick, Hannah Griff, give me a score for this game. You got a score? I don't do scores.
Yeah, 27-21.
You got a winner or just a score?
No. You want a winner too?
Oh, never. So sorry. They didn't ask. Sorry.
Wait a minute. A score. I can give you a score, 27-21.
All right. Great job. Thank you, Charlie.
Total on the game is 55. So they are looking at they're actually probably looking at somewhere around 30. It's a 5-point. If it's a 5-point spread, it's 55. Help me do the math here. It's 30 to 25 is what Vegas's predicted score would be.
The thing I like that under.
Under 55.
Yeah, I like it under 55.
We'll take a break. We'll go back to the phone lines when we return. Brought to you by LeBear's Baton Rouge. This is Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
T-Bob Abear here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Camry LE with 0% for 6 years or for $22,890. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Do you have or have you had COVID-19? Antibody screening or rapid molecular testing can tell you. Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours offers both with results from molecular testing in minutes. Learn more at lakeurgentcare.com.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1, presented by LaBerge Baton Rouge. Become a new member of My Choice at LaBerge. Get your choice of free slot play, a free bet on the table games, or food credit within the first 48 hours of your joining. That's at LaBerge Casino and Hotel here in Baton Rouge. 499-9898 is the number to call. Greg is in Mississippi. Greg, welcome into the show.
Hey, great to talk to you guys. It's a tradition like none other on Wednesday nights. I want to know which 2-2 team you think implodes first and the hardest, Tennessee and Auburn. And I have to spin this with Auburn. Hugh Freeze, we're going to parlay this 5-0. That parlay was a shout-out to Jimmy Ott. he's a smart bettor. You were talking about that earlier. Thanks to Jimmy. You've been making me rich for years. Does Hugh Freeze turn this 5-0 Liberty into a lower power five gig or a little bit higher profile? Does he get an offensive coordinator shot here in the SEC or at Auburn? Potentially, can he get a head coaching job? I think Auburn would be a good choice if they would go that route if they decide to get rid of the Gus bus. You guys have a great evening.
Thanks a lot.
Auburn's done a thing with an Ole Miss coach before, right?
I seem to remember something about snakes on a plane.
Yeah.
I think Auburn probably in a little bit more trouble than Tennessee, because I think Tennessee in their head has moved on from the quarterback. I think that they're done with Georgetown. Now the next guy might be worse, so I can't speak to that, but I just don't have any faith in Bo Nix. I'm sorry. Tank's a better running back than what I saw in the first couple of games, and so they've started to run the football a little bit, but Bo Nix is just going to get you beat a lot of days, man.
He had incredible personnel around him and a veteran offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Lost his entire offensive line, and of course you had that incredible, the best defensive line in college football, arguably last year, and they're all gone. And so Tennessee, we're talking hot seat. Pruitt, they signed to some extension. Where Malzahn, and Malzahn's still on a big contract. It's a big number, and we go back to the financials.
That
Letting
doesn't
somebody
matter
go
at
in
Auburn.
COVID.
It doesn't matter at Auburn.
So
that doesn't apply at Auburn.
Okay,
It applies everywhere else.
All
It
right.
apply at Auburn.
All right.
Am I in a minority that I still like Gus Malzahn as a head coach, as a play caller?
I mean, you've got to feel good about this. I've got Malzahn. I got Chad Morris, who I like as an OC.
That's where you lose me.
Okay. I like
Because
Chad Morris as an OC.
I don't like him as that OC. Okay. Because when Gus Malzahn has had his best success, it's been with a quarterback that Taylor makes to his system, and it's been with him calling the plays.
It's been Newton. It's been
Nick Marshall.
Nick Marshall.
Even Stidham, they did some nice things with.
Yeah.
But not as good as Marshall, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I thought he overcoached Stidham, and all of a sudden
half a dozen guys at Arkansas State and other. Listen,
he's been most successful, he's had a quarterback that can run the football.
Yes, and go out and recruit one of those and call the plays yourself. Where I find that Gus has gotten a little bit off track is when he's high. And look, Rhett Lashley has done a very good job down at Miami. It's not about Lashley. It's not about Morris. It's not about anybody else he could bring in there. It's that it's Gus's system. Gus knows what he wants, and Gus has been the most successful when he's done it his way. So
I agree with
I'm
that.
calling the plays.
And then so take me back, Lordy. 3 years Auburn when LSU and Ogeron, they came from behind and upset them. And Auburn went up and down the football field on them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in the second half, they decided that they were going to become, they were going to become air raid with Stidham. And that was the problem I had with Stidham. They were balanced. They used play action. They were really tough to stop.
That was the DJ Shark game.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay, so here's what I was told about that game, which was that there were a lot of RPOs in the second half, and Stidham took it upon himself to keep throwing the football. Now, if you're the head coach, you got to call him over to the side and say, hey, wait, look. So it's on Gus, okay? But that's what I was told about that game. And you're right. If they would have just kept running the football, LSU would have never caught up that
It goes
day.
back to
20 points down.
Was that the same year? Georgia running the football, first two series up and down, and all of a sudden they started
and then they
slinging
stopped
the football.
with Holyfield.
Right.
They quit doing it. I still like Gus Malzahn as a head coach. Now, let me get to the Hugh Freeze part of his question. I don't think Hugh Freeze takes a offensive coordinator job in the SEC, even if it includes a healthy pay raise, because he's going to get a head coaching job. Listen, if Bruce Pearl can get a head coaching job, if Lane Kiffin can get another head coaching job, then he will, as time goes by, he will eventually get another head coaching job.
I think, it's the same discussion we've had with Napier, to a lesser degree with Willie Fritz. And Liberty's a good spot. Got plenty of money up at Liberty, and you stay there until you get the job you want.
Yeah.
Now, he's been through, it comes back to, what is that right spot for Hugh Freeze? And he knows the situation at Auburn, right? I mean, in the hot seat and being in the little brother to Alabama and so forth and so on.
That might have been a bit much, the Auburn job. A year ago, I would have told you Arkansas, hey, I'm willing to take a chance. If South Carolina were to move Muschamp, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen now, but maybe there. If Kentucky were to move on, that type of job. Auburn,
it's
a bit much.
Really bad to make a move here in COVID with the economic impact that everybody's got.
Now remember,
they
didn't fire him because of football.
Right.
They fired him for something else. So if the something else is going away, and hey, by the way, the phone records are all public, record.
I'm with you. Absolutely.
The football part with Hugh Freeze has never really been the problem. He aggravates me because I think he's phony, but he's a very good football coach.
Yeah, look, there are a lot of. Nick Saban doesn't give you the warm and fuzzy, but he's a hell of a football coach.
But Nick doesn't try to tell me that he's a nice guy, and then he goes off and does whatever he does. What you see is what you get with him. I'm a coarse, old, rough football coach, and football is what matters to me first, and I'm going to let you know that. Freeze rubbed me the wrong way because he wanted to tell me how holy he was on Sunday, and the other 6 days of the week was less than that. So that just aggravated me. But from a football standpoint, no, the guy can call plays and the guy can coach offense.
So let's talk about who would you have on the hot seat in this year and what have you? Who's really on the hot seat in your mind?
In the Southeastern Conference, I would have told you Will before the season, but that was in a normal season. So Jimbo's not on the hot seat. They're playing. They lost to Alabama. Who cares? I don't know that there's anybody that you've got new coaching hires at Arkansas,
who knows what's
Mississippi
happening?
State, Ole Miss.
Who knows what's happening to Vanderbilt? So Vanderbilt's a different.
Yeah.
Heck, they may not.
I think there's a real good chance you're going 14 for 14, and that everybody's coming back.
So I don't think there's a whole lot of opportunities. I think he stays at Liberty and waits until the right opportunity comes.
Even if they offered you the job, would you want to take it this year?
No.
Where the first half hour of the conversation after you get the offer is all the things you can't have. Well, you can't have this for staffing. You can't have this for recruiting. You can't have this for transportation. You can't. These are all the cuts you have to make.
And by the way, you can't flip the roster.
Yeah.
You can't. All the things we talked about with the LSU and their issues with the NCAA and what they proposed, it's great time for it because we don't know when's the next time they're going to have on-campus visits. You're dealt with the personnel group that you got. You got limitations every which way. And so, no, I stay at Liberty if I'm Hugh Freeze.
And by the way, while I think that Auburn implodes before Tennessee, I think Auburn can get it turned around very, very quickly. I think that if this was one bad year, if they end up going 3-7 or 4-6, same thing at LSU. If this thing does get sideways and it goes down the hill and it ends up 3-7, I think he's turning around very quickly. Both schools the same thing. This is the Tiger Zone presented by LeBear's Baton Rouge on Eagle 98.1.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1. Bring home the holidays with a Thanksgiving feast from the Bon Ton Buffet. Feeds 8 for just $95. Pre-order now through Tuesday, November the 24th, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And choose between oven roasted turkey or mandarin orange glazed ham, dressing, sides, rolls or cornbread, sauces, and dessert. Call 225-224-4143. Back to the phone lines. Charlie is in Lafayette. Charlie, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie and Gordy, how y'all doing today?
Good.
Yeah, good to see y'all. I enjoyed talking to you, Gordy, at the Hall of Fame event they had at LaBerge on Sunday.
No, thank you. No, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Ronnie does a great job.
Ronnie does wonderful. I think Ronnie's lost some weight, too. You know, he looks good. But I really enjoyed seeing you, and I've enjoyed Charlie and Jacob's show. It's required viewing for me every day. You know,
thank you, Charlie.
I just need to realize I don't know how to get to the YouTube huddle and all that. I'm kind of confused. So, you know, I'm going to have to find out eventually how to do that. So,
well, you know, if you want to buy me lunch, I'll explain it to you.
And a round of golf, probably.
I don't mind buying you lunch if you could explain it to me. It'd be nice to sit down and talk to me.
Yeah, let's do Ruth's Chris.
He won't buy me lunch.
How about
so
we do Stabs? We'll do Stabs.
Ruth's Chris. Well,
Stabs. Let's go to Stabs. I'm good. Have a couple drinks. We'll be good.
Definitely. I really would. It'd be nice to sit down and talk to you, pick your brain anytime.
Well, heck, if you're in that kind of mood, let's do dinner.
Yeah, why not? Look, a question. I've really enjoyed listening to the show tonight. Y'all breaking everything down about the possibilities and everything. And I always like listening to your show on Wednesday. All this stuff that happened with these like these violations or whatever, and all this stuff that happened with OBJ and all that. Is there a possibility that something like this could have a negative effect on this year's recruiting class, or whatever? I mean, I don't think it will, but, you never know, because there's a lot of negative recruiting that still goes on. And I trust, I take what you guys say seriously because y'all usually are on top of it.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie.
I want to hear your opinion.
It doesn't help, but I don't think it's going to have a huge effect on this year's recruiting class because most of this year's recruiting class, the relationships have been established.
Right.
Okay, I say this a lot because my recruiting guys tell me this, and when I recovered it on a daily basis, I found this as well. The two main things that will make a difference in a recruit is relationships and geography. They'll establish a relationship with a head coach, with an assistant coach, and it'll be either close to home because they want to stay close to home or they've already made a decision that they want to leave the state and they go somewhere else. After that, things like did they win the game on Saturday? Do they have, a 3-inch cushion in the weight room as opposed to a 2-inch cushion? All of those things are, way down the line. And then occasionally you'll have a sibling or a girlfriend that's going somewhere, and that plays into the thing. So they're going to get negative recruited on this. That's why I'm saying it doesn't help. Or is Clemson going to go start talking to Mason Smith or Alabama about this? Yes, but LSU will be able to explain what's going on here in very, very simple terms. And Odell Beckham has very, very little to do. That became the headline on ESPN because of who Beckham is. It is the minor part of the story. The part of the story that LSU can get their behind in a sling is a booster paying a parent of a player. And it's, again, I said it's at the top of the show, but it's going to be, what did you know and when did you know it and did you lie to us? Because if they find out that at any point in the process that LSU wasn't up front with them and they can prove that they weren't, the penalties become more severe. If they find out, listen, this was a booster. He did this on his own. We didn't tell him to do this. He did it. We didn't know about it. When we found out, we reported it, and we didn't lie to you the whole time. Then you can go and send no more. That's where the crux of this is, that and the basketball part. Because if they can tie the basketball part into it, which LSU has protested pretty vehemently, like football's football and basketball's basketball, well, then you can get into more severe penalties if they decide that they're going to lump them together. And basketball hasn't even been cited with anything yet other than an investigation. So that's where where I am on it.
Yeah, I think for 2021 class, a lot of the hay's in the barn.
I agree.
Okay.
18 out of 25 are committed, right. And the 7 to 10 guys that you got on the hook, you're pretty far down the road with.
Right. So 2022, which is really interesting, I think won't be as affected. Well, we'll see what happens, but as much because of all of the lingering COVID restrictions that is out there. I mean, we don't know when the student athletes or high school players are going to be allowed on campus for visits.
Right.
And so all of this whole recruiting cycle is so different. And to your point, I think it helps location-wise, right? In the proximity, being closer, I think that it helps for all the above. And so I don't think in the 2021, 2022 class is quite as affected. Now, you got to win some football games, and I think I'm to the point, I don't know how you feel this season, you got, let's say, Alabama, Clemson, whoever's going to make it, and everybody else is an asterisk, by and large. Right?
And I think those two are asterisks, too.
Right,
but,
right. Oh, okay, so yeah, it's an asterisk season. Yes,
it's an asterisk season.
Yeah.
Let me tell you where I think LSU takes the biggest hit in recruiting on this deal is this year, the post-national championship year, was supposed to be the year that you could really celebrate the program. They wanted to bring as many kids onto that campus over the 12-month period from when they hoisted that trophy in New Orleans to the next signing date as they could. And I'm not just talking about seniors for the 21 class. They wanted to bring all of those kids to camp, those freshmen and sophomores, where they're impressionable and you can put them on campus and say, look at what we did. Look at what we accomplished.
No question.
And you had this opportunity to get 14 and 15-year-olds that you know are going to be 4- and 5-star kids in 2 and 3 years, and you get into their head, that's my team, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you also get a chance to evaluate the kids that maybe aren't as highly thought of, but you get them into camp, and they've done a very good job with this, and you're like, man, nobody's talking about that kid, but he can play. You bring him into your camp. You evaluate him. You see him in person. You develop a relationship. You're marching past the trophy and the video that's on the loop in the building all day about Burrow winning the Heisman, and you're walking past the offensive line trophy that's still in the corner and it weighs 800 pounds, and you show him the pictures of the parade, and then you show him, you're walking past the wall where all of the NFL guys are there, and it's like, look, Justin Jefferson's playing for the Minnesota Vikings, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, and all they can do is that on a Zoom call, and that's where they're losing that punch that they would have gotten.
They didn't get the big kiss off the national championship. And the other thing, not that all programs have a little bit of this, but especially the way that Coach O recruits, you got to come to their camp to get an offer. And we can go back and without getting into the drama of
any normal year, yes.
The U-High team, 2 or 3 years ago, where I don't know that anyone other than Roy landed, right? It was 2 years ago. A lot of them left the state, and and they were good football players, right? But and so there have been gems that they found, like Justin Jefferson in camp. They're people. Patrick Queen's another guy that they really loved in camp. That was at a small school over in Livonia, and so I think that has an effect just on the way that LSU's recruited under Ed Orgeron, and they've been successful. They lose those opportunities. I mean, there's rumors out there that there might not be camps or even on campus visits to 2022.
And you say, well, so nobody can have camp, so it's not really disadvantaged.
Right.
No, it is, because going to camp at LSU this year would have been more glamorous than going to camp at Auburn. Would have been more glamorous than going to camp at Georgia. Hey, listen, we kicked their ass last year. Watch, let me show you the video. Let me show you all of this stuff. And you bring up a point about you brought up Jefferson. You brought up Queen. Okay. I think we are now 5 or 6 years running where the last guy that was taken in the class is now playing in the NFL. Jefferson's in the NFL. Cushenberry was the last guy in the class in the NFL. Foster Moreau is in the NFL. Queen wasn't the last guy they took in the class, but he was one of the later guys that they took. The last guy in the class is doing really well.
Yes.
Last guy in the class you find in camp. And so they didn't have that.
No question. I mean, you got Foster Moreau. What a great story that is. I mean, they fell in love with Foster Moreau. They fell in love with Foster Moreau in basketball. Cam Cameron went and took Frank Wilson down there and watched him play basketball. And it was at that point they saw the athleticism.
Yeah.
Because the film, he was more of a straight line blocker in high school, and he didn't play in a dynamic offense, and they got to basketball and saw his athletic ability. But guess what? You can't go watch basketball games right now. You can't see that face to face.
Deion Jones was another one, and
I could tell that story. Sure.
Okay, you remember the day up on the 4th floor, and you came by my office. It was 3 offices ago, but you came by and said, "Man, I'm hearing about this kid named Debo Jones, and they don't know if they're going to take him." And you said to me, I'm paraphrasing here, something like, "I've seen him. He can really run. He's instinctive. They should take him." And like, well, it's going to be down to class a little bit, but yeah.
This goes back to, the funny thing about Debo Jones was, you heard rumors because that was my alma mater, and that Chavis saw him in camp and wrote him off because he was too small.
Right.
And he put on, and he was 195, and I think he played his senior year 205, 210. And he was committed to Nebraska, Bo Pelini, and defensive back coach by the name of Corey Raymond.
Yeah.
And so LSU had to go down that road to go flip him. They talked Chavis into taking him. Boom, 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 boom. And guess what? Corey Raymond came down and replaced, I believe, Ron Cooper as a defensive back coach, and the rest is history. But those are the things. And what if you don't, you haven't had a chance to see a kid in 2 years in the way that they've grown?
Then they had to take, how long did it take them to convince Chavis to play him?
No question.
And then once he did, it was like,
and he really, right. And now he's been all pro.
Had a hell of a career. Yeah. We'll take a break. We'll come back, take a look at the games in the Southeastern Conference this week. This is the Tiger Zone presented by LeBears on Eagle 98.1.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention them right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1, presented by LaBerge Baton Rouge. All right, only three other games in the league this weekend besides LSU and South Carolina. Auburn and Ole Miss, the early game on SEC Network. Tigers about a 3-point favorite at Oxford.
I like Ole Miss in this spot. Obviously, Auburn's reeling right now, and at least Ole Miss is dynamic on offense.
Are they?
I think they are. I think they had a bad afternoon at Arkansas.
About two and a half quarters worth of no score, and kind of threw me a little bit. I expected Arkansas to win the game because the point spread actually changed, and they were the favorite by the time they kicked the ball. But I expected 35-33,
right.
Something like that. When they went scoreless in that first half, that really surprised me.
Auburn can't stop run. They're struggling to stop run. Going back, South Carolina averaged 6.7 yards, I think, in the second half of that football game. I like Ole Miss. They get Snoop Connor going and Ely, and that's what Arkansas with their base defense, they were able to handle Ole Miss's run and force Corral to make some mistakes in that game. What, he had 4 picks? I know he had 3 to 1 DB. But I like Ole Miss in that spot.
I'm leaning Auburn a little bit because I think they will commit to running the football. And Ole Miss cannot stop you're talking about Auburn can't stop the run. Ole Miss can't stop the run at all. So they'll put it in Tank's hands and they'll take it out of Bo Nix's hands. I like Auburn close.
Okay,
close.
we can agree to disagree. Next,
Alabama, Tennessee, because it's the third Saturday.
Alabama. I can't believe that Pruitt fired Jimmy Brumbaugh, the defensive line coach, after 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, because it's his fault.
It's his fault. Pruitt's good for Tennessee.
I thought he was on the right track. Do you think they're done with Giartano? I mean, the guy started 29 games for them, but I think it's time to.
I mean, is
cut bait
when you're firing a defensive line coach in a week 4 of COVID?
That was a Butch Jones-esque move to move him.
Don't get it.
Fire the quarterbacks coach, or fire the quarterback. Kentucky and Mizzou, 3:00 kick on SEC Network.
So hard to. I gotta go Kentucky, and I think Missouri and Basilak and all they're going to look very human. And I think I like Drink. I like what he's done, but Missouri's not good on defense.
Kentucky's solid. Yeah. Kentucky's solid. They beat themselves in the first game against Auburn. They got into a shootout with Ole Miss, which they're really not built to do in game 2, and they've won the other 2. I think they're a solid football team. 5.5.
Yeah, give me Kentucky.
5.5. Me too. They're finally becoming what Jacob Hester thought that they were.
I know he's excited.
They just had a couple.
I see. What's it? Keeneland. He's riding the horse around Keeneland. He's so excited. I mean, mint julep or whatever the heck. Right?
Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. Monday Night Football, half off margaritas, draft beer, and nachos. And Thursday nights, buy 1 tower beer, get 1 tower half off. Pregame starts at 1:00 on Saturday afternoon for Abby Lee and for Playboy Marty Gordy Rush. I'm Charles Hanniger. Good night, everybody.